How's it going, guys? Cody back again, dropping yet another video. Right, guys, it's like 25 to 6 Friday morning. I should have done this video yesterday, but I'm doing it now. And it's, as you can see from the headline, Strangeways prisoner, 66 years old, dies in hospital after contracting the coronavirus. It's the second confirmed death of prisons in England and Wales. Scotland's, obviously, justice has been devolved to Scotland. Straight off the bat, I would like to send my thoughts, my prayers and my condolences to this prisoner's friends and family at this sad and tragic time. I'm going to read the story, guys. I'm going to do my bit at the end. Let's get into it. Headline reads, Strangeways prisoner, 66, dies in hospital after contracting the coronavirus. Ministry of Justice says there has been 19 confirmed cases of COVID-19 across 10 prisons in the country. A Strangeways prisoner has died in hospital after contracting the coronavirus. It has been confirmed. The 66-year-old man is the second inmate in the country to die after testing positive for COVID-19. An 84-year-old man who was an inmate at HMP Lachey in Cambridgeshire died in hospital on March the 22nd after contracting the coronavirus. A prison service spokesman said, a 66-year-old prisoner at HMP Manchester died in hospital on the 26th of March. Our thoughts are with his family at this time. As with all deaths in custody, there will be an independent investigation by the Prison and Probation Ombudsman. A Minister of Justice spokesperson said, we are unable to confirm if this was the same individual who became the first prisoner in the country to test positive for the coronavirus last week. They were also unable to confirm if any other members of staff or prisoners have since tested positive. The MOJ is now confirming the number of corona cases on the national scale. As of Wednesday afternoon, 19 prisoners have tested positive for COVID-19 across 10 prisons. 4 prison staff have tested positive across 4 prisons, and 3 prison escort and custody staff have tested positive. When the first case was confirmed at Strangeways last week, it emerged 13 prisoners have been placed into isolation and 4 staff were told to self-isolate as a precaution. The MOJ said healthcare professionals are assessing on a case-by-case basis whether offenders should be treated in prison or taken to hospital. Visits have been stopped to all prisons, with bosses saying inmates will have more access to phones to keep in contact with friends and relatives. However, the coronavirus outbreak means they will spend more time in their cells, up to 23 hours a day, it has been reported. The potential for early release for some prisoners has also been raised. Dr. Joe Farrer, the Chief Executive Officer of Her Majesty's Prison and Probation Service, told MPs at the House of Commons Justice Select Committee that the crisis has meant that prisons are now using an exceptional delivery model. She said, that does mean that people in prison will have more time in their cells. The reason we have been trying to manage a more or less normal regime, more or less, are you having a laugh? For the last 2 or 3 weeks has been to minimise the amount of time people would have to spend in their cells knowing that this is coming. We will be making sure that people come out for meals, to make phone calls to family or to other people that they need to phone to make sure their health is attended to and to take showers. We'll be making arrangements for people to exercise in the open air with proper social distancing. Again, God bless that prisoner. May he rest in peace. My thoughts and prayers are very much with that prisoner's friends and family at this sad and tragic time. The reason that they can't confirm if any other prisoners have tested positive, simple, they're not testing prisoners. And when it comes to whether these prisoners with coronavirus, whether they need to go to hospital or stay in the prison, they're going to stay in the prison, guys, because they haven't got the staff to do a 4 or 5 man escort. The thing is with Strangeways, it's a maximum security facility, but it only actually houses 40 Category A prisoners and E-list prisoners, right? The rest of them are Cat B and Cat C prisoners within the jail, right? but it is a maximum security prison. They said they're going to spend more time in the cells, like 23 hours a day. Well, tick, that was already happening. When I was in that jail, when I was in Strangeways, I was spending 22 to 23 hours a day locked in my cell. They're taking food to the door now. In Strangeways, you don't eat on the landing, right? You go to the hot plate, you get your food, and you go back to your cell. But in the corona climate and the coronavirus, they're doing controlled unlocks. But I'm being told they're not even doing controlled unlocks. I heard that there was, but now I'm being told that the food is being taken to the cell. So the prisoners on the server are dishing it up, walking it to the cell, screw pops the door, hands them the food, and walks away. This is what's happening. Certain prisons are having to choose between half an hour association to 45 minutes association, or you can get a 10-minute phone call and a 15-minute shower. This is what's happening, guys, in prisons. And like I said, I'm all for the preventative measures. It makes sense. I get it. I'm not stupid. I get it. But prisoners going on like they care about prisoners, and we're trying to do this for our prisoners, and we're trying to... No, they're not. They're trying to distract them. They're trying to distract them and keep them occupied, because if you don't, there's going to be riots, right? And the more prison deaths there are through this coronavirus, the more panic. At the moment, prisoners have only been locked behind the door while this lockdown's taken place for the last few days, right? Since, was it Friday last week, Saturday last week, right? So it's come in gradually, right? Then you've cancelled all visits, right? You've got hot days, that's another aggravating factor. The heat comes in, the glass magnifies the heat, your cell becomes an oven, right? Prison healthcare is absolutely appalling. These prisoners, they're trying to distract them, they're trying to keep their brains occupied, because there'll be riots. Right now it's frustration. That frustration, after a certain period, will become anger. Anger will then become violence. The more prisoners that die in prison, and sadly and tragically, the two that we've had so far, one of them was a sex offender, so I'm not really bothered about him. I don't know about the 66-year-old man, if it's general population or not. But 2 deaths, right, in 24 hours, right? And then you look at the scale of how many deaths that they are projecting in prisons. They're saying 800. They've estimated there will be 800 deaths in prison. The more prisoners that die in prison, the more panic will set amongst prisoners and their families. Literally, guys, my balls are airy, right? They're not crystal. But I can so foresee what is coming. It's scary. Not just with the prison deaths, prison riots are going to happen. It's not if, it is simply when. Like I said, you look at Italy, you look at Spain. We've only just locked down after we saw the devastation it caused to Italy and Spain. We carried on as normal, man. They've only just locked down a week ago today, I think it was, where they closed the restaurants, the bars and everything like that. Because I went out for an early Mother's Day meal with my ma last Friday because there was talk of a lockdown. Went to a nice little place, Waterside in Monton. Right? But anyway, so we went there, and then they've locked down and stuff, bars, restaurants, pubs and clubs, right? Then a few days ago, they cancelled prison visits. Prisons have gone into lockdown, right? Like I said, at the moment, it's frustration. Then it will boil over to anger. Anger will become violence. And the more prisoners that start to die, the more panic will set in within prisoners. And then what do you think is going to happen? It's going to go off. I hope it doesn't come to that, but the prisoners I'm speaking to, that's where they think it's going to go as well. Some prisoners are thinking rationally, oh, it's a good idea, that it makes sense. But a lot of these kids in prison, they don't think rationally. If they did, they wouldn't have done the crimes they committed to go to prison. And when you're in prison, like I said, it's the little things on the outside, little things, you can just, and you can let it slide. In prison, little things become mountains, mountains become volcanoes, volcanoes, easy for me to say, explode. Prisoners are begging for water. Prisoners are having to beg for soap. Prisoners are trying to get hold of hand sanitizer, right? You've got mentally ill prisoners locked behind the door, climbing the walls with paranoid schizophrenia and paranoid personality disorders that think that this virus is going to be the end of them. They're shit scared in the cells climbing the walls. The drugs, the illicit drug trade within prisons is drowning. There's becoming a drought in prisons when it comes to drugs. We know that, I'm not blowing anybody up. We all know how drugs get into prison. Drones, they had a problem with drones at Strangeways. It ended up in the media. Then you've got like come through visits, other ways over the wall, all the usual old things that people used to use, right? And family visits have now stopped, so that's one avenue completely closed off. There's a few thousand Her Majesty's Prison and Probation staff off, and Ministry of Justice and the Her Majesty's Prison Service and these private prisons. The estimated to be 1,000 prison officers off. That's probably more like 1,500 now, right? So those corrupt officers that normally bring contraband in, they might be out of action because they might be self-isolating or just milking it, right? That's another reason there's a drought within prisons. So the price is going up. People are starting to rattle within prisons. Then you've got the mentally ill prisoners. Then you've got the prisoners that have got flu-like symptoms. Like I said, if you don't test prisoners, they can't confirm the cases. It doesn't get out into the media and they just die. Shh. This is the idea, guys. Right, private prisons. Do you think private prisons like Forest Bank and stuff, do you think that they're going to be paying hundreds and hundreds of pounds for a corona test for prisoners? It's a prison that's built on financial gain. First aim, last aim, financial gain. They're not even giving prison officers public protection. They're not even giving prisoners protective equipment. That's their staff. So what do you think's happening to prisoners, guys? Fucking hell. If you look at the ladder, simply put, prisoners are on the lowest rung on the welfare ladder. The only people that care if prisoners die are prisoners' friends and prisoners' families. There could be a devastating, catastrophic amount of deaths within prison, and I predict it. And Joe Public on the right side of the tracks will not give a shit. And like I said, I need to go back to this prisoner that's died in Strangeways, right? Through a prison source, you never reveal your sources, it's just not the done thing. The 66-year-old prisoner had very underlying health problems. He was poorly anyway, and he was end of life. He was receiving end of life care. And the coronavirus, he was confirmed with a confirmed case. So we'll have to see in his autopsy what comes back as the cause of death. But the coronavirus could have very easily done this. He's in the at-risk group. Well, it's 66, so he's in that age bracket. He's got underlying health problems. You've got the 84-year-old sex offender that was 84-year-old man, do you know what I'm saying? But he was a sex offender, so no one's going to cry a tear for him. But yeah, it's just a 66-year-old man, underlying health problems, was receiving end-of-life care. Apparently died in hospital. I was told healthcare wing at Strangeways, but it was the MOJ have said it was at the prison, at the hospital. So I don't know there. My prison source is very much in the know. But yeah, it's 2 deaths, guys, in 24 hours. The next prison. If you watch the video that I did yesterday in the early hours of the morning, I said in the last minute and a half of the video, I said the next death, prison death reference, coronavirus, is not far away. A few hours later, he was another death. Guys, I can't stress enough. I'm tired because I'm not slept, so my focus is a bit all over. I apologise. This coronavirus is deadly, and it's going to wipe out prisoners. I said it on an interview. It's going to go through the prison population like a knife through butter. And it will. And it's starting to. And it's begun. Prisoners are sitting ducks, man. Sitting ducks. And like I said, overcrowded prisons and prison healthcare being as shocking as it is. And like I said, the prison nurses, we'll give you, yeah, it's all right. We'll give you some dissolvable paracetamol. Whoopie do. And healthcare professionals, they class them as, pull the other one. You're going to see a lot of prisoners die, guys. I'm sorry. I don't want it to happen. But it's going to happen. Mark my words, just watch. And like I said, right now, it's frustration. Frustration will become anger. Anger will overspill into violence. Violence could become rioting. I believe it's going to riot. The people I'm talking to in prisons up and down the country are telling me there's going to be riots. They're planning. Some are planning. Some are plotting. And some are just sitting back and waiting to see how it plays out. Some are thinking rationally at the moment. That rational thinking will go when prisoners start to drop dead and prisons are leaving prison in body bags at an alarming rate. When prisoners are looking through their side of their door and they're seeing kids carried off in fucking body bags, it's really going to drill it home for a lot of prisoners that are currently either got their head in the clouds, don't think it's a threat. It's a threat. Trust me, it's a threat. Anyway, guys, I've waffled on for 15 and a half minutes. I'm going to leave it there. I'm absolutely shattered. Sorry for waffling on. The link's in the description, guys, for this story. God bless the friends and family of this particular prisoner, this 66-year-old man that's died, who was a serving prisoner at Strangeways. Going to leave it there, guys. Like, comment, subscribe. Cody out.